So welcome to Writer's Life, a place where you get the sights, sounds, smells, tastes of my particular writer's life, and where you get the truth about the writer's life. Subscribe if you haven't already. Punch the like button and tap the bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on one exciting video. And so I can bother you around this time of day, most days. All right, so I told you about my bunch of my school experiences, and so now I'm going to tell you about my writing school experience, graduate school. It was weird. So like it's tough putting it all into like perspective 25 years later, but it seems like yesterday. Oh my God. On one hand, it really represented like a major shift in the family business, to which I was attached at the time, even though I was freelance writing. And I had to take out like a $40,000 loan and all sorts of stuff like that, because my parents at the time were dead set against it, and they wanted nothing to do with it for obvious reasons. Even though my dad had said, I'll always pay for your education, no matter what it is, whatever. So I kind of took him up on that, and he was like, I'm not paying for that. And in retrospect, good for you, Dad. You made the right decision. Absolutely. But still, it was like, I hate it. I've talked about this before. I just didn't fit. I was a square peg in a round hole when it came to the construction business. I didn't, like here I am in charge of like a project. I didn't even know the basics, the engineering basics of laying out a building. I had no idea. No clue whatsoever. And like, I'm responsible for this project and I have no idea what I was doing. And again, it wasn't fair to the people I worked with. It wasn't fair to the client. It wasn't fair to anybody, basically my dad should have sat down with me and said, look, this doesn't work for you. Let's figure out a way to get you into something that you enjoy and that you can succeed at. But my father wasn't that way. It was either his way or like he just couldn't conceive of anything being beyond his control. So anyway, but I did. I got into writing school, and it was a 2-year full-time thing. So I was in school full-time. I was working full-time. I was freelancing and raising 2 toddlers basically, and getting like maybe 3 hours of sleep a night. But you could do that when you're like 29, 30, whatever it was. And okay, so at base, just like any other college experience, I immediately found my niche of fun people to hang out with. Most of whom I don't speak with anymore, not because I don't want to, it's just because everybody's gone off and done their own thing. But like I found that, like the one niche of the one group of people who were actually fun, because it was what they called a low residency program. You only were required to be on campus for like 12 days and 11 nights per semester. And the rest of it, they just shipped you off and like gave you all these writing assignments and reading assignments. And you actually had to, this is, I mean, the internet was starting at this time, but it was still the old fashioned way. You put together a packet every month and send it to your advisor for them to edit or correct or critique, I should say. And so like, that's what you concentrated on all month. It was going through their useless bullshit. So I read some of the most boring books in the world and wrote about them. And it wasn't my bag. And I think one of my advisors said, like, you're not going to be much of a literary critic if that's what you're looking to do, because I didn't like that part of it, or whatever. And while you were on campus, you had these grueling, what they called workshops. So, everybody handed in a story for this one book, that they put together, and you that was your story for the residency, and you lived and died by it. And I didn't catch on that, like, I thought originally that, like, you should put a story in there that you were having trouble with, and and the group would help give you good advice on how to work it and rechange it and whatever. And it turned out like that's not what they wanted at all. You were supposed to put your best work in there, work that had even been published. So it shows you right there. I knew I'm like, oh, this is a scam. This is a fucking scam. You're not here to learn. You're here to like show off and to show up, right? Or like to show people that you're better than them or whatever. There was like a hierarchy, and it was more like high school and college, I thought, in some ways. But anyway, it was like 90% people who wore their heart on their sleeves, and 10% people like me and my friends who just got fucking loaded every night and like laughed a lot and partied a lot and just didn't take it very seriously. Like, I went to Vermont College, by the way. Some of the professors, like, I think the only reason they were there is because they couldn't make a living writing. A couple of them were just downright, like why are they paying you money to do this? Because like one in particular, he's passed on. He had one book to his name. One book. I like write a book in like a month. But then there were some really good guys. This guy, Tony Arzoni, if you haven't read any of his stuff, definitely check him out. He was a great guy. Brett Battles was there. He was awesome. I really can't. I'm trying to think of who else might have been good. Chris Noel was there. I don't even know if he's still a writer. I hope you are, Chris. That was about it. As far as I can remember anyway. And there were some really snooty ones who thought like they were the cat's ass and all that sort of stuff. And, I was like, you don't impress me. So when I was there, I told everybody, I was like, I'm going to do this for a living, and I'm going to entertain people, and I'm going to be like a pulp writer, and I'm going to put out a bunch of work, and fuck you. And like the professors were like, oh my God, you can't say that. You don't make a living at this. You're going to have to teach. That's why you're here, like to get your degree so you can teach. There are no teaching jobs for writing teaching jobs. There are none. If you're a writer out there right now and you're looking for a teaching job in writing, creative writing, look it up. You'll find like maybe one job, and it'll be like in Nome, Alaska or something like that. Or Nebraska or something, like not to make, I have fans out in both places. So like that was out. So I was like, no, I'm here to learn writing, to be a better writer when I graduate and when I'm paying on my $40,000 loan. And I'm going to entertain. I'm going to make movies, hopefully, and the whole bit. And they thought I was nuts. Well, it turned out 6 months or 9 months after I graduated, I got my first, major deal. And it's funny too, because I used it. I had started this book as my creative thesis, working under this guy who I no longer speak with. His last name rhymes with lover. He's a douche. But anyway, he suggested I take all this stuff out. And like, as soon as I got home, I already knew by then, like, what a bunch full of shit he was. And I put it all back in there, and I got a major deal with the book, and 2-book deal. And eventually that book went on to sell hundreds of thousands of copies. So, and it's still doing well. So goes to show you, in retrospect, did I need writing school? I most definitely did not. And I would totally suggest, if you're a young person out there watching this and considering going to writing school, It's a scam. It's just a place you pay a ton of money to pretend you're a writer for 2 years. That's really all it is. And about 90% of them, 95 maybe more, end up going on to another type of graduate school program, like for the law or some going to medicine or whatever. Everyone's pretty smart. And none of them, another like 95% of them never write another word again, ever. I went on to make a living from it, much to everyone's unbelievable surprise. So there you go. There's my writing school experience for the most part. There's probably other things to tell, but I can't think of them at the moment. In any case, I have to go to the post office because I signed a book for someone who actually signed onto my Patreon account. Thank you. And I can sign you a book too if you want. All right. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.